And I met Felicity in December when we had an Africa fair. And she was one of the people who was attending, and we got talking. And it was when we got talking that I was so impressed by her story and the fact that she had come through with courage, and that out of that courage she had written 2 books. And it was in talking about this that I said to her that one of the things I've done as part of my mayoralty is having book launches, book evenings. You know, it takes you back to the salons of France and I don't know which was the 18th century, where people used to meet and discuss books. I'm one of those who just loves reading. Not that I have much time for these days, but I know that reading is one of the things that is a way of sharing experiences and things. So when I found out about her book and her story, I thought it would be a beautiful thing to have Felicity come. And first of all, tell us about the inspiration behind her book, what made her write it, how she overcame those challenges in her life. And another reason why I feel that Harrow is the good place to start is that we believe that I think every mayor thinks their borough is the best. But I think that in terms of books, ours is particularly important. We are the home of Byron, Sheridan, Trollope. And for those of you who like poetry, I'm sure you know about Byron. So you can see that going back years, Harrow has always been a center of writing. And we value writers. So without further ado, Felicity, I hand you the floor, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. You're running away.
I'm just going to sit down there. So
okay. Yeah, you have a whole space.
Yeah, the whole stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Well, before we start, I want to say to you, I am recording this talk, so it will be used for people who are not able to attend, or for your clients, so you can share it with them later. And also, just for coming, because you are here tonight, I would like to give you a free gift. That free gift, to get that free gift in your inbox right now, actually next 5 minutes, I want you to get out your phone, your mobile phones, get them out. Text me your name and email address. Text it to 01784. So 01784 603 111. Text your name and email address so I can send you the free gift. It is 01784 603 111.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. 01784 603 111. So your name and email address so I can send you the free gift and also the recording of this talk, which will come to you in 24 hours. But the free gift will be in your inbox in the next 5 minutes.
Do you want
Name and email address. So before I start, may I just ask how many people currently work with women or young girls who are going through abuse? Show by raising your hands. Let's see. Right, some of you, thank you very much. Next question. Who here have actually witnessed or seen a friend or neighbor or colleague go through abuse? You witnessed any incident of abuse? Let's see your hands up if you witness abuse. Well, most people actually anyway. Last question. Who here have actually seen me speak about anything to do with domestic violence or tell my story? Oh, I did training or event. Thank you very much. So very quickly, my name is Felicity Okolo, like you all know already. I am going to deliver what was promised in the invitation, which is first, share with you a brief summary of my story, and then why I wrote the book called It Is My Life and I'm in Charge. Then I'm going to move very quickly to how we can create a happier community free from domestic violence, and also why I think domestic violence is not a stigma, and then how we can prevent domestic violence in young people. So because I'm walking around, I'm going to need all mics.
Okay.
So firstly, a brief summary of my story. My story began actually when I was age 19, 2 weeks after coming to England, the rules came down. He said to me, "You're not allowed to go to church without my permission and approval. You're not allowed to go to college without my permission and approval. You're not allowed to go to have friends without my permission and approval." Basically, no life without his permission or approval. And then just imagine, in Nigeria, from age 16 to age 19, I was a TV and radio actress. And then I was a leader in the church. And then I was in university. So imagine being taken from my country where I was fairly class of favors in my state and well loved to now becoming a prisoner in a foreign country where I had no family, no friends. Imagine what it did to my mental health. So, but anyway, I stayed, and 2 weeks after the rules came down, he said to me, the abuse actually began. So because I had nothing else to do, it was winter, I was in a foreign country, all I could do was watch TV, cook, eat, sleep. Same thing, day in, day out. And then one day he came back and said to me, "Where were you? I've been calling the phone, you haven't been answering the phone. Where did you go? You shouldn't leave the house." I said to him, "But I was sleeping. If I didn't hear the phone, I was sleeping." He said to me, "You're lazy. Why didn't you hear the phone? How can you sleep? All you do is eat and sleep." So I'm thinking, what else could I do anyway? So basically the abuse continued until after the baby was born, 3 months after the baby was born, the first major incident happened that I could have been killed, physical incident. Do you know, I never knew that you could be beaten so badly that you are hurting, but you couldn't cry. I experienced that. I could have been killed, but as fortunate enough, I had lodgers, or we had lodgers in the house who came and rescued me. It took the man and his wife to actually restrain this man off me. I could have been killed. But I'm glad I'm here today. So the abuse continued to next pregnancy. So it was after the second baby that TV being my only source of communication with the outside world. I was watching TV, then it was Oprah. And the topic of discussion was domestic violence. I said to myself, oh my God, I never knew this happened elsewhere. I thought it was only happening to me. I thought it was just a Nigerian man who was being bad to his wife in England. But to discover that it had a name, and there were women in the US, in the UK, all over the world suffering from abuse, I felt relieved to know that I wasn't alone. And also they mentioned that the police could help you. So I felt, this is good, so I know I can get help now. But when this man came home a week after the revelation, he threatened to hit me. Then I said to him, I'll call the police. He said to me, British law has no jurisdiction in his house. So I'm thinking, am I delusional or is he delusional? The house is a British soil. How could British law not have any jurisdiction? And surprisingly enough, because of my level of knowledge and awareness, then I kind of believe him. Yeah. Imagine I was 19 or 20 or 21 now by now, and no knowledge about the laws in the country. So this abuse, but I knew I had a weapon now, I could call the police. So it continued until third pregnancy happened. I was thinking, oh my God, how could I live through this again? How could I actually raise another child in this environment? I did not want to live anymore. I decided, you know what, the best way to get out of this was to kill myself, because I've just had enough by now. Because during my time there, he controlled everything, the finances. So whenever we have an argument, there's no food in the house. It was only rice we had. That's what I had for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. It could go on for 2 or 3 weeks. Yes. And so I said to myself, I just have to die. Maybe then that way I don't have to go through this pain anymore. But they wouldn't let me die, so I'm still here. So, but then I said to God, I went down on my knees, said to God, I don't care how you do it, get me out of this relationship. If this is what marriage is all about, I want out. Then I remembered while I was 17 years old in church, we normally have harvest and Thanksgiving bazaar. And there's offertory, I have to give offertory, collection. And I remember groups were called, and then a group of young ladies were called to come and give offering to get a good husband. And then I remembered giving offerings. Even when I had nothing to give, there were men in the church who knew me and knew what role I played in the church, who will give me money to go and give, offering for me to get a good husband. I said to God, you know what? All the money I've been giving to you, and this, I want a refund.
I like it.
Really, I want a refund with interest. Because this is not it. This is not what I prayed for. You know, I wanted more, but this is not what I'm getting. This is what marriage is all about. I want out, and a refund with interest on the money I'm giving to you. My prayer, it took a year for my prayer to be answered. So it got answered in a traumatic way, because sometimes we pray, you don't know how the results or the answers will come. So mine came in a traumatic way. So had a baby, and then 3 months again after the third baby was born, another major physical incident happened. Again, I could have been killed. Then it was my neighbors who came and rescued me. This time around, I called the police. He was arrested. But like most women, I didn't press charge. I didn't press charges. But we went to court. At court there, he was, well, I had the option of moving out of the house, but I chose, like most women, the lesser option. I just wanted injunction. I wanted him to stop beating me, isn't it what people say? Just the violence to stop, not the marriage to end. I thought things would work out. So he got 6 weeks injunction to stop abusing me or threatening to abuse me in the house there. So imagine God and the devil living together on the same roof for 6 weeks. It was hell. A few days after 6 weeks expired, he began threatening me again. And 3 a.m. one winter night, 3 a.m., he threatened to kill me, so I ran. Jumped into my car and drove off that lights on so he wouldn't find me. But this man, the 5-month-old baby he was carrying, he dropped the baby in the car, chased me, jumped into his car, came after me. I drove a few streets away from where we lived and parked the car. I saw him drive past looking for me. I slept in the car till about 7 a.m. that morning and went to my neighbors, said to them, I'm never going back to that house. So 2 days later, I went back with the police, picked up my children, and that was how I left. The abuse did not stop there because he continued to threaten to kill me and to abuse me. He continued to abuse me emotionally and mentally afterwards as well, like most women know about abusive partners. So that's how I left. And now moving on to very quickly why I wrote the book. I never imagined that I would be speaking here today or working in domestic violence field at all. As a child, I wanted to be either a doctor or a musician or actress or astronaut. Here I am. I think this is better than all of them though, don't you think so? I definitely think. So it happened when I trained as a coach, as speaker. I hired a publicist because I wanted to run a seminar and she wanted to have background information about me. So I told her my story. She said to me, you know, Felicity, you've done so well with your life after this abuse. Why not help women who have gone through a similar thing for them to actually be successful like you? I was thinking, why? That's not why I hired you. Why are you telling me this? But then again, a week later, I met another man who said something to me, said to me, why not help women? I'm thinking, why are you telling me this? Again, the third person, I said to myself, you know what? Maybe these people who do not know each other, maybe they have a reason. Maybe they were sent to deliver a message to me. So I decided the best way to actually share this story with people was to put it in book format. That way anyone can access it around the world. And that's what I did. It took about 6 weeks to write. 2 of the 6 weeks I didn't write because I wanted to stop writing. It was so traumatic. Memories that I wanted to forget, I had to go and remember. So, but it took a lot of love and support from my family to actually make it possible that I complete the book. So before the book was published, my last proofreader read it and said to me, she wrote to me an email, she said, Felicity, it was fate that I read your book. Because she was going through post-abuse. I mean, she left her partner, but he was still abusing her emotionally and mentally afterwards. She was able to use one strategy from my book to help her to stop that abuse. So when I saw that email, I cried because I said to myself, if only one life was transformed or saved because of my story, it was worth the pain of writing it and also the pain of going through it. So now this book, according to what I've been told, in Nigeria where it's not readily available, a copy of my book actually gets to about 10 women. But in the US and the UK, that is available through Amazon or good bookshops, it gets to about one copy of the book, which is about 5 women. So that's what I've been told anyway. And now I have developed a training program called It Is My Life and I'm in Charge Domestic Violence Recovery Program that women can access to help them recover from their abuse quicker than I did. It took me about 9-12 years to recover, but now with that program, women can recover less than 12 months if they really wanted to, and to stop the pain that I went through, so it's easier for other people as well. And now people have been asking me to help them write books, their stories, or for marketing purposes. I never knew this would happen, but I'm grateful it did happen. So moving very quickly to what I think, or how I think we can create a happier community, free from domestic violence. First of all, what is domestic violence? Well, my definition is, it is a pattern of aggressive or controlling behaviors or threat of such behavior from one adult towards another who are related, basically. It used to be intimate partners, but now I think it has been generalized. As long as you're related, it could be a mom to a child or a child to a parent or in-laws, whatever. It could be physical, emotional, sexual, mental, financial, social isolation, all of them, which I all suffered. So I know with the culture we live in, people like to keep to themselves. It's nothing to do with me, but I really think domestic violence has to do with everybody. Don't you think so?
Yes.
Domestic violence is everybody's business. Whether we like it or not, we suffer domestic violence, directly or indirectly. I'll give an example. Say you want to have a good night's sleep, and your neighbor decides to beat up his partner or his wife. They're either fighting or somebody's screaming. How are you going to get a good night's sleep? You may end up going to work the next day, and then you're grouchy, or you're not highly productive. And then because you're grouchy, you lose your temper easily with your mates or people there at work. Your work suffers, your colleagues at work suffer, you are suffering. So what did you do last night? Nothing, but your neighbor did something to disturb you. So you've been affected by domestic violence, definitely. Or if you own a business and your employee was abused, she may not show up for work. What happens? Your business suffers, and the colleague who have to do her work because she's not there, they'll suffer as well. And also, if she shows up at work, she may not be highly productive like she normally will be. Either way, business suffers. So you begin to understand now how we're all connected with domestic violence. It affects each and every one of us. Because we're all connected spiritually and energetically, we have to know that domestic violence is a collective thing. I believe we need to be well educated about domestic violence, to know what to do and how to help the victims of abuse as well. I will say, if you know somebody who's been through abuse, if you see a woman, you've seen her going through abuse, say to her, no one has the right to abuse you. I am happy you are free now, or you are safe now. If there's any way I can be of assistance to you, do let me know you're not alone. How do you know? And do you know, I really think that abusers need to be taken, need to be punished, really. Because why should women who have been through abuse come out and become isolated again and have a stigma of being because you've been abused? So once upon a time you were in the prison being abused, and now you are out, you've been stigmatized or ostracized by society. Why is that? I don't think domestic violence should be a stigma at all. Do you think so?
No.
No, it shouldn't. So why do victims suffer, not the abusers? I really think that if you know someone, if you have a friend, or you've seen signs that maybe when you visit his house, you've seen his wife or partner with black eye or child, whatever, you get suspicious, I'll say to ask. Ask your friends, speak to your friends, say to them, you know what, I don't condone such behavior. And if they will listen, report them. Call the police. You hear a neighbor screaming at night, call the police, report. That's what you can do to stop abuse in your community, because it's part from that friend. Because would you want to be associated with a rapist? No? Anybody? Would you want to be friends with a pedophile? Anybody? Same thing. Why would you remain friends with your friend who's an abuser? What's the difference? He hurts somebody, he may even kill somebody, and he walks away free and thinks it's normal. In a way, you're condoning his behavior. Because he walks away happy, and the victim comes away ostracized, stigmatized. Does it make sense? Am I making sense here?
Yeah,
That it's the opposite. It should be the abusers actually to go in exile, really. Really, I think so, because the victim should not suffer twice. There's no need. Abusers need to be punished severely for what they do, because these abusers actually go out, have another relationship, abuse someone else again. Because my abuser, he had an ex-wife whom he abused, she ran away, which I wasn't aware of. And then he abused me, I ran away. The third one would not know about me and the first one. So, an abuser ends up abusing at least 3 women in their lifetime. Okay? And then these women end up costing the NHS, the social services, the healthcare, the police, everything is cost. And also we know that domestic violence in the UK, 2 women are killed every week from domestic violence. And then 10 women actually commit suicide to escape domestic violence, according to Refuge Charity. And then in the US, it's 3 a day killed because of domestic violence. So we all have to take it seriously and know that we have to play a role to stop this happening, or else we continue to cripple our community. And also, coming to how I think we can prevent domestic violence in young people. Education, again, I think is key. For me, what I'm decided to do is to write a book. I have a 3rd book coming out next month, which is called It Is My Life and I'm in Charge: Students' Guide to Relationship and Dating Violence, to educate young people on how to prevent, to cope, and to overcome abuse in the relationship. Because we know that most young people who grew up in violent environments or homes, they end up being abusers or victims themselves, not all of them. So we want to prevent this, and we all can play a role. So I think I have covered briefly, because this can take a whole day, for me to speak about these topics. I've covered summary of my story, why I wrote the book, how I think we can begin creating happy community free from domestic violence, and why domestic violence is not a stigma, and how to prevent domestic violence in young people. So for now, I'll say thank you.